What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua has supposedly reached out to Ismael Salas over training for the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch. Okay, Anthony Joshua is claimed to have reached out to the veteran Cuban trainer Ismael Salas over potential training ahead of the Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch. Strength and conditioning coach Angel Memo Heredia, remember this guy, remember that name, who works with Salas in Las Vegas, has declared that he was approached as a part of a move that was sculpted by location conflicts. Okay, following his defeat to Ruiz on June 1st, Joshua has firmly insisted that he will be staying with his longtime trainer, Rob McCracken. However, Heredia contradicted this, okay? Memo told Hustle Boss TV, "I'ma drop a bombshell today. Me and Salas were very close to seal a training camp with. We got approached by Joshua," okay? But Salas felt that Joshua needed to come to the United States to train here, not for us to go to London, so I respected that. I always think, is a good fighter. I love Ruiz as well. I've worked with Ruiz on 2 camps. He reached out to Salas, and Salas reached out to me. This is Memo Heredia, okay? Because he said, I would work with you only if I get Angel Heredia for the conditioning part. We worked before. We had a camp, me and Salas with Joe Joyce, a successful camp in Kazakhstan. So he loves how I do conditioning for the kids, and that was one of his conditions, okay? The other condition was Joshua to come into the United States and do a camp in Vegas, not for us to go to London. Salas is already established in Vegas. Salas is not going anywhere else. He's staying here for good. It would have been good, but Joshua, I think, wanted to stay in England. He wanted us to go out there, but it is what it is, okay? Of course, we know Salas is the renowned trainer of Guillermo Rigondeaux and Jorge Linares, okay? I'm thinking that Anthony Joshua has love for his trainer, Rob McCracken. That's a given, okay? I think that Joshua, he needs to bring someone else in. I've already said that, but I think now that he's approaching other trainers, I think that he's starting to realize that he needs someone that helps him become more of a boxer instead of some of the exercises that he's doing. Now I'm going to read more, okay, about what Salas had to say about Anthony Joshua, okay? Then I'll counterpunch that. He said a lot of people thought that he needed a change, not only on the corner, but he also needed a different strength and conditioning trainer. Joshua is very athletic, but in my opinion, he does a lot of exercises that do not let him be quicker than he is supposed to be. But Ishmael decided not to go, and obviously one day they decided to stay with the same coach. Yes, he will stay with his original trainer, okay? Now, this is good news. It's positive news for Joshua. Joshua reaching out and bringing people in that can help him add to that team. Because if he's loyal to Rob McCracken, hey, that's great. But I don't think Rob McCracken can coach him through being fatigued or tired. That's where your strength and conditioning coach comes in. I think he does need to change. If not his main head trainer, of course, one of these guys. I think, though, now that Joshua does need the 360. I don't think he needs to necessarily stay with Rob McCracken, though, because if Rob McCracken is the reason for him staying in England, where he had an opportunity to train under Angel Memo Heredia. That's the same guy that trained Marquez, okay? When Marquez knocked out Manny Pacquiao on their fourth fight. That's the same guy. Strength and conditioning, when Marquez came in a fucking beast with the fucking acne on his chest and shit, rattling Manny Pacquiao, which we never seen that ever before. Him doing that. As much or as good as a puncher that Marquez is, we never seen him do that, right? So he does have a special skill. Now, the trainer Salas, I don't really necessarily know what his specialty is, besides him being or replacing Rob McCracken. If you had Ismael Salas and Rob McCracken in the same thing, in the same corner, what could they do for each other? What if they start contradicting or conflicting instructions to Joshua? Who was Joshua going to listen to? The guy that he brought in, or he wanted to bring in by Salas, or his go-to old school trainer Rob McCracken? Who are we going to go? Who is he going to go to? So it's one of those things where definitely we know Anthony Joshua is reaching out to people. You know, yes, this is a bombshell. I'm going to tell you why. Because everyone, he was like, hey, yeah, I'm going to stay with my trainer, you know. But that doesn't mean that Joshua's not looking elsewhere. He's not a fool, because he's a natural born winner. He wants to win. He wants to get back on his winning streak. Whatever that takes, he needs to do. But here's the problem. Me counterpunching this whole thing. I feel that Anthony Joshua should train over here. If he's going to fight over here, he should train over here. Why? Because he could acclimate to this time zone. He could acclimate to getting good sleep, to getting good rest, to getting good sparring, to getting good training, right? He needs to go where it's comfortable for his trainer, so his trainer can be comfortable and ready to train him, not bring him over to another time zone. Now, I will say this. I will say that these guys, Salas was willing to go to Kazakhstan, okay? They were willing to go to Kazakhstan. And I don't really know why they weren't really willing to go to London. You know? That's my thing. That's one thing that made me scratch my head about this whole article I'm reading. We worked before. We had a camp, me and Salas, with Joe Joyce, a successful camp in Kazakhstan. So he loves how I do conditioning for the kids, and that was one of his conditions. So, how you doing? My thing is, why would he have a problem, or why wouldn't he have a problem going to London when he went to Kazakhstan? You went there for Joe Joyce, but you wouldn't go there for Anthony Joshua, you know? But then again, if you look at it on the other end, why would Anthony Joshua have any reason to not come over here to train? You know, he had a training camp partially in Miami, which is a laid-back resort to a lot of trainers, right? A big distraction. Look what you got in Miami. You got tail and trim walking everywhere, right? That's not really an ideal place. Why do you think Ali got in so much trouble? He loved Miami because of those women. He didn't love Miami because it was just a place that he goes, right? But the important thing is Anthony Joshua is still reaching out, or he's began reaching out. And I think this is not the only time. This is the first time that these trainers had came forth and let people know that, hey, Joshua's interested in other trainers and other techniques, other things that can help him. Hell, if he can bring in a marine mental specialist, he could bring in another person or another strength and conditioning coach. You know what I'm saying? That's what I say to that. So it doesn't really surprise me. It is actually enlightening right? It's refreshing, you know, and I'm glad that even though they won't admit it, because, you know, of course, I just broke down his last video, which he was saying there's no excuses, nothing was wrong with training camp. You know, we did everything right. Well, obviously, he won't admit that something was wrong, but his actions by bringing someone else in automatically tells us that he didn't have everything that he needed that night to win. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'll say about that and about this issue with Salas and Heredia. You know, he wanted to bring in Cuban school. He wanted to bring in someone that knew how to box. You know what I mean? These guys, these Cuban trainers like that, especially Salas, he's a Cuban trainer. You know, he trained Joel Casamayor, Rigendao. He's training with Ereslan de Lara now. So he is a Cuban trainer, okay? So there is a reason Anthony Joshua reached out to him. And I believe that this isn't rumors, no. You know, I would be surprised if somebody did deny it, but then again, I probably wouldn't. Who knows? You know, I mean, maybe this wasn't meant for everyone to hear. But he has to start somewhere. And that somewhere has to start with change. And he needs a change. He needs to add or change, or both. You know, I think he needs to stop being comfortable with being in England like he is, because if this was an opportunity for him to get better, to learn new things, because remember, guys, Joshua's still learning. He was just undefeated that whole time and unifying at that same time. He was learning as he went along. Okay, so he'll still be learning. And I think the idea for Anthony Joshua and the objective is to learn. Okay, and if you haven't, or if you learned everything that Rob McCracken has taught you, you need to go somewhere else. That's my take on it. Of course, I'll leave the link below in the description box. You guys tell me what you think about this new trainer. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.